Whether it's bad planning, bad luck, bad timing, or bad inventions, well-intentioned bad decisions have plagued history for thousands of years. Welcome to Historic Hindsight. Hello and welcome to an episode of Historic Hindsight. I'm John, that's Tom. Today we're going to talk to you about Lorena Bobbitt.
And John Bobbitt, Johnny. We can't forget about
John Bobbitt, yeah.
John Wayne Bobbitt, who you already know is an asshole because his name is John Wayne Bobbitt.
Oh, see, I was going to go the other way. I was going to say, he had one of the best names you could have, and now it's ruined because of this whole, ordeal.
This whole
John
ordeal.
Wayne's that's a good, powerful, strong American name, and now all of a sudden,
for John Wayne, not for some
the John Wayne. I guess you don't want to be
some redneck,
not some John Wayne Bobbitt.
Well, if you are at home and listening and you don't happen to know who Lorena and John Wayne Bobbitt are, without getting into too much details and spoiling the whole episode, they were a married couple that at some point, Lorena decided for reasons to cut off John Wayne Bobbitt's penis, throw it out the window while she was driving, where they do find it and it does get surgically reattached. But we'll get into all those fun details as we jump through it. So when I started researching this, this happened when I was in about third or fourth grade. And I just remember the stuff from the schoolyards, and we were making fun of it because it was like a schoolyard thing or whatever.
Yeah, it was nothing. It was nothing but jokes, and it was what the old timey equivalent of just making memes out of a news story was. It was just that. It wasn't the actual news story or information. It was just talking about some dude who got his penis chopped off, and I think there were songs.
I remember
songs
there were so many it was thrown out the window. It was ran over by a lawnmower. It was ran over by a car. A dude stepped on it. It got surgically reattached.
Yeah, I always heard it
surgically reattached. He wanted it to get enlarged, so they put it in a taffy maker. I heard all kinds of.
Oh God, that's so much more than I heard. I just heard that they put it in a plastic bag and threw it into a ditch, and then they had to search around for a while. So, which I think might be the real.
Yeah, your version is a lot closer than the other things.
Than the Laffy Taffy maker to stretch it out. That wasn't real.
Yeah, I mean that one was. I mean, in all honesty, as a fourth grader, I should have been like, I'm calling bullshit on that one. But hey, this is before the internet, so we didn't have the opportunity to search on and see what was fact or what wasn't fact.
Yeah, all we had was somebody saying, "Oh no, my mom told me," or "I saw it on the news," and then you had to take them at their word because you don't have anything to refute it.
Yep. So how did this all happen? Where did this all start? Well, it starts when two people fall in love. We've got John Wayne Bobbitt, who was born in 1967, and he was a lance corporal with the Marines stationed at Quantico in Triangle, Virginia, which is just outside of Manassas, just outside of Washington, D.C. So, he's a Marine. He's hanging out. He's doing his Marine thing. Yep. And we've got a Lorena Gallo, who was born in 1968 in Ecuador. She, in Ecuador, for her 16th birthday, instead of having a quinceañera party or whatever, her family.
I think that's Mexican. Do Ecuadorians do that too?
Yeah. I think it's kind of a South American thing because they also. So bear with me on all this research. I did the best I could. There was so much conflicting evidence out there, and the court trials are so conflicting. I mean, I watched a documentary. I watched actual court footage from Lorena's trial. I read legal briefs from Lorena's and John Wayne's trial, and obviously I did the whole normal peripheral searching through the wikis and all that other stuff.
Wow, yeah, you did a deep dive into this one.
I did, and because there was so much stuff that's referenced in one article, but I tried to double confirm it in other things, and it would. So
confirming any of the facts was a problem.
This might not be the most 100% accurate because to this day they still don't really know what exactly the hell happened.
Yeah, we're doing your best.
But she did have a quinceañera, but instead of having a big party, her family paid for her to come to the United States. She fell in love. She fell
to live permanently, or as a vacation.
It was like a visit.
Okay.
But she fell in love with the United States, as you do when you're in South America and you come to the United States. You
Yeah.
tend to like, hey, it's kind of
Well,
nice.
okay. So for everybody, like all the Gen Z folks, that's what you used to think back when, it
Yeah,
wasn't
before
what it
shit
is
hit the fan.
today. Like it used to be better than those third world countries, I promise.
Yeah. But anyways, once she graduated the equivalent of high school in Ecuador, she wound up moving to the United States on a student visa. Fast forward a few years, she is now almost out of her student visa.
Uh-oh.
It's almost time for her to go back.
Well,
So she goes
I'll
to
bet she was super sad when she had to go back home, huh?
she never had to, Johnny, because she would
What?
meet John Wayne Bobbitt
Hmm.
at a. This is where reports get confusing. It was either at a Marine ball or a bar on Quantico Base or a club on Quantico Base where people hang out. Like I heard it referred to like 3 different ways, but in any case, he
So
meets
like
her.
there's probably like the after party of a Marine ball at
Yeah.
a club on a base. Something like that.
He meets her, and Johnny, it's love at first sight. He's got her ticket to a green card, and he's inexperienced with women, so she's his ticket to Punani.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
she's somebody who will pay attention to him.
both families, both Lorena's family and John's family, said, hey, don't get married, don't
Maybe
do it,
bad idea.
just wait, at least know each other for maybe a year. I mean, time out, let her go back to Ecuador. If she comes back, then it was meant to be. If not, well, hey, you
So
had a go at it.
what kind of victory laps do you think their families took after all of this went down? They're like, I told you so. Like you
I
should
told you.
not have gotten married that quickly.
I told you. I there's probably we'll get there. We'll get there. So, but she's very Catholic, and Catholics don't trust women going out alone. So every one of their dates they had before being married was chaperoned. So I'm sure that there is no part of this whole "I just want to have sex with you" thing going on. So we'll just get
No,
married to get rid of this whole chaperone. I'm sure that had no part in it.
no. That never made people marry way too fast or young, historically speaking.
No,
Yeah.
never did. Uh, he would wind up proposing to her at the pool on the Marine base when they were swimming, and he happened to find, and this isn't like it was staged, he legitimately just found some random girl's ring at the bottom of the pool, picked it up and gave it to her and said, will you marry me? And she said,
You
yes.
you can't do that.
Winner. This guy is a winner. And it wasn't like a big diamond ring. It was like a gold band with like a bow,
It was It was probably
like
a
a ribbon
toe.
tied
It
in.
was probably a toe ring or something that somebody lost.
Well, in any case, he proposed. She said yes. They got married. They bought a house in Manassas. And if you're at home, you're going, Manassas, that sounds familiar. Well, it's because we just did an episode on Bull Run, a.k.a. the Battle of Manassas,
Yeah.
which this whole incident becomes known in court as the Third Battle of Manassas because this is a small city that has nothing better going on.
Oh, that's awesome.
But things fall apart pretty much right off the bat because John can't keep a stable job once the Marine Corps is over. Once he's done doing his duty, he can't keep a stable job. He has a job as a bouncer. He has a job as a dishwasher. He has a job as a wait. He has all kinds of different jobs. He can't keep a job for more than a couple
So
of
it
weeks at
sounds
a
like he
time.
doesn't have any real skills.
No, he doesn't. And so Lorena is stuck forking all the bill out with being a nail salon technician.
No.
In order to attempt to keep the bills, or the, house afloat, bills afloat, whatever, she does steal $7,000 from her boss, which is hilarious because her boss keeps her around and then will become like her best friend later. We'll get there. It's a weird relationship.
So her boss knew that she stole the $7,000, and then after she stole it, she's like, "Okay, it's okay."
At least from what I can gather,
And
yes.
you can stick around or whatever. Maybe there was a little bit more going on, and the boss kind of knew and was just like,
well,
a charitable thing. Maybe, I don't know.
We'll
Tell
get
me
there.
about it, Tommy.
So. In addition to that, she also got into trouble from stealing a crap ton of clothing from I don't remember what department store, but like a Macy's or one of those places. And when she was caught with that, they were like, well, this had nothing to do with you paying the bills. This was just you wanting to look good. She goes, well, my husband keeps putting me down and saying I look ugly, so I have to look pretty for him.
So he's a bit of an abusive dick.
he's a bit of a dick. And that's
Yeah.
where the shit really starts to hit the fan. When they get their apartment, the police are called out to that house, or the apartment, at least half a dozen times.
Mm.
Some of which being her calling against him, some of which being him calling against her. It isn't great. He
So this
does
sounds
beat her.
like a real nice, healthy relationship.
Yep. it it sure is a very, very healthy, nothing could possibly go wrong incident. I do want to clarify right off the bat that although to this day John denies ever beating her or ever raping her or any of the other accusations she makes against him, uh,
Okay.
he sure did.
Yeah.
And even one of his defense attorneys later on in a trial even said, "I'm not going to argue the point that he beat his wife."
I
He
mean,
didn't beat his wife because he beat his wife. This guy's a beater.
yeah.
If you look a picture, I'll put a picture up on the Facebook or on the YouTubes for the people watching it there. Uh, you look at him and you can kind of like you can look at a guy and be like, yeah, he probably
See,
likes to have a beer or two and beat his wife.
I'm gonna guess that this is the guy with the type of mentality that you can't rape your wife,
Yes.
and that there's a difference between discipline and abuse, and he tends to stay right on the line of discipline and never go too far into that category of abuse, even though it's just the exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
That
you're
seems
right,
like
Johnny.
who we're working with here.
So let's fast forward a little bit. They were, like I said, they were married in 1989, and the incident happens in 1993. So they get 4 years, at which point, for almost a year, from like 90 to 91, they were separated because, well, things aren't going great.
Yeah, because like maybe we made a mistake, and they're like, no, we definitely didn't. Let's move back in, and
No,
we'll just
love prevails.
yell and fight and beat each other. What kind of existence is that? Like, I don't know.
I
Anyway,
I don't know. Anyway, so we'll fast forward onto the night of June 22nd, 1993. John Wayne, he calls Lorena at work and demands to know when she's going to be home because that's the type of person he is. Excuse me.
because he's probably hungry and jobless and waiting for her to
Yeah.
come
Oh,
home
yeah.
and make
He's
dinner.
jobless at this point.
Yeah,
No job. He's jobless.
yeah.
She says, "I've got to work late tonight. I don't know what to tell you. Figure it out." Well, he's got his best friend Robbie who's staying with him, and they decide it'll be a good time to just go out and get a few drinks. So
Why
they go out
not?
to several bars, several clubs. They have a couple of drinks. Now he insists that all he had all night long was 2 beers and two B52 shots. Now, if you don't know what a B52 shot is, it's like a 3-layer liquor shot, which can either
Okay,
come in a shot glass or a triple shot glass. And I'm pretty sure he got the triple shot glass version. So that's 3 drinks in one. He
right.
was loaded,
Also, you always add at least two
or 3
to
or 5
to
to what
what
they say.
anybody tells you. Like that's what my wife's friends with a state trooper down in Texas, and she's like, yeah, anytime we pull somebody over and they however many drinks they have, you always add two to whatever they tell you because it's always bullshit. You know, they're always, oh, I just had I went to the bar, been there for 4 hours, I had one beer. You know, that was it. Maybe two. I think maybe 2 beers when I was
Maybe
there for
2.
four
Yeah,
hours.
not any more than that.
Two
Well,
Miller Lights. That's it, bud. Okay.
he had his 4 drinks.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Right.
He comes home with Robbie, not drunk at all. And I'm not making accusations that this guy might swing for the same team, but there's a lot of pictures of him really cozying up to guys, like hugging and being
Yeah.
shoulder to shoulder in pictures and stuff that, like, I don't know. I don't do that in pictures.
So, and this is John that we're talking about.
Yeah, John's buddy Robbie. So they come home.
So,
Uh,
well, I mean, this could be some, you know, he married. There's could have been a reason he was a virgin, and this could be some weird repressed homosexuality, shame, self hatred type
th-
thing going on here.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's probably.
We're gonna put that on our list of theories.
I'm not saying he is. I don't want to be sued.
But you're
But
not
I'm
going to
just
be
saying,
surprised if it
I
came
wouldn't
out
be
later.
surprised if it came
Yeah.
out later that he was. Yes. Um, he gets home on the night of the 22nd. So it's after midnight now. So officially the 23rd of June. His story is he tries to go to bed. He passes out. He's just so tired. He feels Lorena, trying to get a go at him. He's just so tired. He's like, I can't do this. And the next thing he knows, oop, my dick is gone.
Okay. Question.
Yes.
Was it the whole package, or was it
well, it was
just the
so
twig and not the
this
berries?
was well, it's not the berries. The berries were left, so
Okay.
this is just the penis. So
All
the
right. So
berries are
just
left.
taking the twig.
Nuts and sack are still intact,
Yeah.
but we are cut down to the nuts and sack.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing there's an issue with them. There's a hole at the top now that isn't there. But okay, so yeah,
Now, from what
just
we
the
can piece
actual
together
penis.
from Lorena's testimony is that he had raped her that night, and she was fed up with it.
Okay.
Sometime between like 3 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the morning, she gets up. She goes to the refrigerator. She opens said refrigerator for a glass of water. The refrigerator light illuminates an 8-inch carving knife on the table. She picks up said carving knife, and the next thing she knows, the penis is in her hand and the knife is in her hand, and she's driving down the road.
Sounds like she's a victim of opportunity.
It might be. We know he was inebriated because the crime scene investigators, when they went to the home, the blood was it pooled so much on the bed that you could see a perfect indent of his ass cheeks. So he was just laying there like with his dick cut off
So he
for a
probably
good
just
solid little bit before he was like, oh shit, my dick just got cut off.
Yeah, so he raped her and then passed out.
Probably
likely.
Yes. Likely. Likely. After waking up to no dick, and he claims he wasn't drunk. Again, he wasn't passed out. He wasn't drunk. He was just exhausted from being out drinking all night long.
Sorry. There is zero level of exhaustion that could prevent me from being aware that I
my dick
either
was just cut
in
off.
the process of or had just gotten my penis cut off. I could be awake for 3 days straight. I'm waking up when that happens.
Well, once he realizes what's going on, once he's coherent enough, he goes up to his buddy Robbie, kicks him awake, and says, "Hey, dude, we got to go to the hospital. My dick's been cut off."
He had to get his ass out of bed, walking around. Can you imagine coming to that realization?
No.
Like, dude. You wake up, you're like, "Oh God, I'm sore," and then like you start feeling, and then there's just a wound, and then you look around, there's blood everywhere, and you're like, "Oh no, I cut myself on something." Clearly, oh, I wonder what happened, and then you keep feeling, and it's just gone.
It's just gone. Yep,
it's gone.
It's gone. There's no.
And then what? And you go to the hospital for what? I guess this is ditch it up.
This hasn't. Yeah. Well, you gotta have some. You gotta stop the bleeding.
Yeah,
and gotta,
you go and get some stitches. I guess.
Okay, bear with me here. So Robbie gets woken up and he goes, "Okay, cool. I'll take you to the emergency room, but let me go brush my teeth first." No shit, this is what happened. He had to go brush his teeth first. Now, your look is exactly what my look was. It's an emergency. Who cares about fresh breath? Johnny, they were out drinking all night long.
Yeah, it was because he was still drunk.
The alcohol out. Yeah, he was drunk and thought, well, this will cover up the booze breath, so he brushed his teeth.
Yeah, always. That works every time.
It works 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So after Robbie brushes his teeth, gets himself squared away, they get to the hospital. This is 1993. There are no cell phones readily available.
Right.
There is no internet readily available. The dispatch is you call it in on a landline, and when the police talk to other police officers, they have to do it via the radio.
Yeah.
So when he gets to the hospital, the police do arrive at the hospital, and they have to dispatch other police officers to go to the home to look for said missing penis because it's not there.
I would love to hear all the police chatter around this.
Well, I heard a bunch of police chatter. So they don't want to say penis over the air because this would obviously be like the media would be all over it right off the bat if they did that.
Yeah, so media is listening. Media can listen into the same radio frequencies that like police scanner stuff.
Radio is a dumb technology. You can't like prevent somebody from listening into a radio wave.
No, it's a frequency.
You dial it in, you're there. Now, the 911 calls, the dispatches, the radio stuff, it's great. It's like, we need you to go to his house. I'm going to sum up one of them from like dispatch to an officer. We need you to go to his house. He's been injured. Something has been cut off of him. We need you to go find it. Well, what? A body appendage. Okay, well, like, am I looking for an arm? Am I looking
for a hand, an individual finger? The size of a finger, perhaps.
Like a member, like something something that's unique to him that he's gonna want back.
Officer, I'm just going to need you to picture the body part that you would least like to have cut off and go look for that out in the field, please. Thank you. Over.
Because that's what it's. Well, they don't know what's in the field yet, Johnny. So they
Or
go to the
wherever,
apartment.
but around
Yeah,
the house, whatever it was.
they go to the apartment. And they start looking at the apartment. And first off, this another way you know this guy was a beater is when you look at the crime scene photos from the apartment. The apartment's a fucking shithole.
Oh,
Like his bed.
I'm sure they had fights and he threw her around and
His bed is a mattress on the floor that doesn't have like its fitted sheet is all half thrown around on it. There
right.
is only the fitted sheet. There was no blankets that I could see.
Yeah.
A half fitted sheet, a pillow without a pillowcase. The mattress was like that awful floral mattress that you
Yeah.
would see from like the early 80s, late.
Yeah, just the cheapest bargain basement mattress.
Just
Yeah.
garbage, and he is on the floor.
Like when you buy one new, there's already 3 urine stains on it.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
brand new from
Picture
the factory.
that. So the police go around looking around their whole apartment complex for it. They look in the refrigerator, they look in the garbage disposal, which is a logical place to
I
look.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody's mad enough to cut it off, they're mad enough to throw it in a disposal.
Yeah.
Which
They look.
By the way, the cops probably just had better ideas than Lorena did because that's a much better solution to getting rid of it than whatever she ended up doing.
Yeah,
with
they
it.
looked in the dishwasher. They tore that apartment up one side and down the other. No penis. This is where the cops get the brilliant idea that they thought, well, she ate it. Well, that's the worst BJ in the friggin' world.
I mean, but really though, they're clearly at this point they know they're dealing with a psychopath.
Yeah,
and people eat people.
Or Johnny, somebody who was pushed over the edge.
Or somebody. Well, I'm just saying, like from the cops' point of view, like they're trying to piece together what the hell's going on and where it might be. They're gonna think, okay, this person might just be crazy, and yeah, bit it off, and
now she just ate it. Yep. So I'm going to jump now to Lorena's perspective. So after she cut off said penis,
what's the timeline on this? So they go in. So he gets cut off in the middle of the night sometime.
Yeah, he gets to the hospital between like 5 and 6 in the morning. So
okay,
the search begins around 6 in the morning, and they're out there looking for it. So Lorena, after she leaves the apartment, she has penis in one hand. She did not eat it. She's got a knife in the other hand. She gets in the car and she starts driving to work.
So she blacked out. Like she,
perhaps, yeah.
Her brain just left her, and something else took over. And I mean, okay, you're saying you're doing the legal thing, whatever. That's what happened. You don't consciously, as an adult human being, just casually walk to a car, start driving it with a knife in one hand and a penis in the other that you had just cut off. That's not normal behavior.
She gets in front of it as she's driving. Before she gets to her work, she gets in front of a 7-Eleven, at which point she goes, it's really hard to drive this car with a penis in one hand and a knife in the other.
Yeah,
so she hurls the penis like Scottie Pippen out the window. And I don't mean she just throws it out the driver's side window. She like layups, like hooks it over, like out the driver's window, over the car and into the ditch on the passenger side. She Scottie Pippens that crap layup.
Not out her window.
No, she throws it out her window.
Well, right, but not out that direction, over her own car. She's hook-shotting it.
She hook-shot it, yeah, into the ditch. Then she gets to her work where there's nobody at work because it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, and what are you doing?
Yeah, we don't open till 10. Like, what do you want?
At which point, she pitches the knife into the garbage can and then drives to her boss's house where she tells her boss, I cut off his penis. And her boss is like, you what?
Come again?
Her boss is fully aware of the abusive relationship. She's fully aware of all the accusations that Lorena has made. Yeah. Lorena did, in fact, 3 days prior to this incident, go to the police department and ask for a restraining order. The police said, yeah, sure, you're going to have to come back later when somebody's here to do that. And, oh, by the way, when you do that, you're going to have to go in front of a judge and explain why you want the protective order. So, of course, she said, yeah, I'll get right on that, and never came back because who wants to go in front of – it's hard enough to get into the police station, let alone, like, have to sit in front of a judge and explain why you want a protective order.
The amount of loopholes that we make people jump through in order to be protected is just insane.
It honestly really is. So I'll full disclosure here.
Like, hi, I'm in fear of my life. You're going to have to come back after 4. That's when the restraining order guy gets here.
So full disclosure, when I first looked into this, I thought Lorena Bobbitt was just an angry Latina woman who cut off a man's penis in revenge. which I'm still not convinced that's not entirely what happened.
Okay, but you want to know why you thought that?
Because I'm a man.
No, because because we're a patriarchy and that's what the media told
Yeah.
us.
But
And that's what everything said. It's like, oh, she went crazy. Oh, look at what she did. And it was none, like, I didn't hear anything about, like, yeah, she did it because she'd been busy being physically and emotionally abused for the past 4 years.
yeah.
And sexually.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's why.
And I thought that
Oh.
he was a pile of shit and probably deserved it, but basically I thought both should have wound up going to jail.
It turned
Now,
out he
at the
kind of
end of
was a
this,
pile of shit and probably did deserve it.
yeah, at the end of this, I'm still not convinced both didn't deserve to go to jail, but we'll get there. We'll take this journey. We're gonna take this journey together, Johnny.
Let's go.
So she goes to her boss's house. She says, "Hey, look, I cut off his penis.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do now." They call 911, and then she does go to the police station to turn herself in. The
Can
police
you
are like, cool.
imagine me
And when
showing up to your house and telling you something like that?
well, yeah, I don't know what I would do with that, Johnny.
Like what? Like
I
what
was
would
like,
happen?
first off, we're gonna take a little ride to the police station
Like, you're
because
gonna need to rewind here a little bit, buddy. What the hell are you on?
when she does go to the police station, she does right away say, "Hey, look, I want to report a rape." They said, "Cool. We'll get to that, but we kind of need to know where the penis is."
Yeah.
She's
We're curious about the blood on your hands and
Yep.
the whole penis that you cut off. We had a report
she's
earlier of
yeah
one
she's
missing, and you fit the description.
she says, "Yeah, it's in the apartment. Look for it." They're like, "No, try again."
Yeah, we
We
did that.
definitely looked for it. She goes, "Oh well, when I was driving, I threw something out the window." Cool. Can you tell us what you were around when you threw it out the window? Yeah, 7-Eleven. So they instantly dispatched police and volunteer firefighters to the scene to go tromping around in the grass to look for said penis. The officer that does find the penis first is a very, very religious man and does not want to touch said penis because,
Homophobe.
yeah,
It'll make him
yeah.
gay. Yeah, it'll make him gay.
So the volunteer fire officer that's on the scene goes, "All right, well, where is it?" He goes, "It's right there." "All right, well, where? I can't see it." And then said officer steps on the penis to point it out.
He what?
The officer steps on the penis
Steps
to
on
point
it?
out, yeah, steps on it to point out to the volunteer fire officer where the hell the penis was.
I mean,
By the way, the penis was not
that's a
in it.
pretty rough burn though for me. Like, it's right there. Be like, where? I don't see it. Like,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Johnny, because when I saw crime scene photos of said penis, I went, "Oh, she just cut off the tip. What's this guy bitching about?" No, that was the whole penis.
oh
He was
no.
not the most well-endowed man
Hey, you
in
want to
the
know
earth
why he was so angry?
because he had a small penis.
I think it might be because he had a small penis.
So the penis was not in the Ziploc bag. She just hurled it out the window.
Okay,
But
see,
when
I
the
always
police
heard
were
Ziploc bag, and that's how they were able
well,
to
well,
reattach.
so what they do when they find said penis is they go over to the 7-Eleven, grab a bag of ice and a Big Bite hot dog bag, which it did not need to be a
I
Big
was
Bite.
gonna say that seems like it could have been overkill.
It could have just been a cocktail weenie bag
Yeah,
because that's about
yeah.
what we got. That's about what we got working with here. And they threw it in that bag and they brought it to the hospital. Now, in the interim, while all this is going on, the doctors basically have been prepping John for surgery because they've got one or two options. If they cannot find the penis, what they have to do is they basically have to tear some skin back, expose the urethra, sew the skin around the urethra so the little bit of the pee hole is
Yeah,
sticking out,
right.
so he could at least pee. At which point he'd be peeing sitting down for the rest of his life.
Which sounds like it's not going to be, if they did that, it wouldn't have been too much of a difference from the reattachment process.
No, it sure wouldn't. So when they do find the penis, they do call in two doctors, one of which is a microsurgeon. Can't make this shit up. Of course, it's a microsurgeon because the microsurgeon does connects all the veins and all that stuff. But
there's a lot to reconnect. Yeah,
they do successfully reattach his penis.
I mean, that's astounding. By the way,
great work, right? Great work. And they said right off the bat, look, the blood flow works. It responded the way it was supposed to. Like it pinked up once they reattached it and let off the clamp, and the blood started flowing again. he had normal, urination movement the next day, but they said it could take up to 2 years before we'd find out whether or not he can actually perform sexually again.
Right.
Up to 2 years. We'll get there because we get that answer before 2 years is up.
Oh, good.
Now, at this point, after everything's said and done, after all the surgeries reattached, everybody's good to go. Every doctor, every firefighter, every police officer went home that night. That's a male. Bought flowers and chocolates for their wife.
Oh my God!
Because they're like, look, I don't care if I did anything wrong or not. I am making sure.
Well,
that
approximately 40% of them were in abusive relationships according to statistics. But anyway, that's it for another day. But yeah, I'm guessing they were a little extra kind for that lead for the next couple of weeks.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely were. So at first, John was not charged with rape because, well, he did have his penis cut off.
I mean, yeah.
But obviously the female advocates groups, rightfully so, put up a shit fit because they're saying, well, you arrested her for cutting off his penis. She's claiming that she did it because of rape. There is police records to show that there has been abuse. DV calls out to the house. You should probably arrest him.
Yeah,
so
both y'all go to jail. Like both of y'all fucked up. But everyone goes to jail.
Yeah, it's 1993, Johnny, and do you know how many states actually have marital rape laws?
Oh God, I don't even want to know.
25 in 1993 had marital rape laws.
Is it any better
now? Virginia did. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Virginia did have marital rape laws, but in order to be arrested and convicted for marital rape, the partners had to be separated, which they were not, like physically separated, not living together.
So they didn't think there was actual marital rape.
No,
they thought it was more of a breaking and entering thing. Like you had to physically go in, break into a place to get them. No, you can't possibly do it if you're living together. If you're living together, you're giving consent all the time.
And the rape would have to leave lasting damage. So
every rape leaves lasting damage. Spoiler alert.
Physical lasting damage.
Oh, just physical.
Yeah, just physical.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So obviously they could not really arrest him on those charges, and they would never get a conviction of those charges, even though every time you see, well, John Wayne Bobbitt was acquitted of rape. Well, no, he wasn't, because he was never brought up on rape charges because it wasn't he didn't fit that limited criteria for marital rape in Virginia.
Right.
They do bring him up on marital sexual misconduct or marital sexual assault, something along those lines. I got when I get to the trials, I've got the actual thing. Now, if he was convicted for marital,
that sounds like basically, hey, yeah, we admit you raped her, but we're going to give you lesser charges because you're married and she's basically your property.
Now, to be fair, that charge was a 20-year sentence. Marital rape was a life sentence in Virginia, but that charge would have been a 20-year sentence. So
that's exactly what that was then.
Well, yes.
I mean,
yes. I'm not arguing with you here, but yes. All right. Yes. So both of them are arrested. Both of them are out the next day on bail. So what happens on the lead up to the whole trial thing?
I forgot. I always forget there was a trial and consequences, because all I ever heard about when I was a kid was that she cut his dick off.
There was a trial, Johnny. I don't know how much consequences there were, but there was a trial.
There was a trial. Okay.
There was a trial. There were two trials, in fact. Each of them were tried separately. So the lead up to the trial, Lorena Bobbitt, her boss hires her an attorney, a decent one, a competent one, and hires her a PR rep, media consultant guy. Probably also smart.
Which, important then, would have been way more important now. And that's so I was thinking about this and how this is one of those things that was viral before social media virality was a thing. And it was because everybody talked about it. And the other thing that was similar to this was, I'm not sure we've ever talked about this, but was there a rumor around your school about Marilyn Manson involving his ribs?
Getting his ribs out so he can give himself a blowy. Yeah.
How is that in every high school across America?
Yep.
Everywhere. And this was when internet didn't exist and everything else, but there was cousins and travel sports leagues spreading things across America.
And
It
this
was the
was
weirdest thing.
spread
And
everywhere.
this was another one of them, and that's why I wasn't sure how much was truth and how much was fiction.
So
But
right off the
anyway,
bat, right after the rest, obviously the media gets a hold of it. The first one to break the story is Washington Post. They break the story, and the word penis had never appeared in newspaper, like in big bold letters.
yes,
Vagina has. So women had a one up on us on this one.
no
Vagina
kidding.
had
Why?
appeared. I don't know why, but it did.
Huh?
But penis hadn't. So not only was Washington Post the first to break it, but they were also the first. Like the story had been going on for weeks, but they were the first to just screw that whole like member talk and Johnson talk and all the stupid words for it.
So
And they just put penis in big bold letters on the front page of Washington Post.
It's early clickbait.
It was early clickbait.
I mean that's
and on
what
top
that
of
is.
that,
They're saying everybody's gonna buy this because it says that huge across the
yep,
front.
and they
That's
did, and they did.
the very beginnings of it.
And when they got out, when they heard that Lorena had hired a PR consultant, they said, "All right, well, all the games are off." Usually, they wouldn't release people's names that were part of sexual crimes, but she's got a PR consultant; she must want her name out there, so they threw her name right out there in big bold letters. Lorena Bobbitt cuts off John Wayne Bobbitt's penis.
So because she got somebody to help mitigate the public relations damages that were going to come to her and that was going to happen, and that she got somebody to kind of temper that, they're like, oh, that's permission to go ahead and just
Johnny, you're painting her in some
rose.
Yeah, you're painting her in some rose-colored glasses that I don't know if she quite deserves, because the first thing she does when she has that PR consultant is she gets an interview with Vanity Fair. She gets
Okay, yeah.
a newspaper, or not a newspaper, but
Or
a
magazine, yeah, the
magazine article with
periodicals,
Vanity
whatever.
Fair. The title of this article is "Sex Lies in an 8-inch Carving Knife," because as we know, it was not an 8-inch.
I was gonna say, I'm like, wait a
minute,
minute, they're already taking liberties like that with this thing. All right,
no, it was an 8-inch carving knife.
he's a grower, not a shower, I guess.
Well, and she posed in a bathing suit because reasons.
Because
What it really
Fair.
boils down to is a PR consultant, the attorney got together and said, "Look, if we can make her look like she's attractive and hot and sexy, no man is going to convict her." And let's be honest, it's worked in the past and it will work in the future with Casey Anthony. She never got convicted because all of her hot pictures got surfaced during the trial.
There have been scientific studies done to prove that being attractive makes you less susceptible to harsher punishments.
Yep. And that's just on both sides. That's on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah. No, across the board, attractive individuals get better treatment than unattractive individuals. That's why my life has just been cake.
So Court TV, do you remember Court TV, Johnny?
Oh my! Like the with
like
Bull?
the network, Court TV,
yeah.
The network, yeah. Well, they were a huge thing at this time, and they wanted to gain access to both trials. They failed to gain access to John's trial because it is a sex crime, so they didn't let cameras in during a sex crime.
Sorry, I wasn't thinking of Court TV. I was thinking of Night Court.
I was there too.
Different programs. I'm like, what did they have to do with any of this?
No, different program, Johnny. Different program. But at John's trial, oh God, was their media present? Now, they might not have been left inside, but they were outside.
Yeah.
Not only were the media present on the outside, but you had local people that lived in Manassas that were selling T-shirts that were like, "I cut a little piece out of crime" and shit like that was on it. Just the most dumb sayings ever. And they were people that got
their T-shirt presses or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Capitalizing on this shit.
Oh, it was glorious. So John's trial would begin on November 8th and end on November 10th, 1993. So quick turnaround on these trials, June to November. That's quick. Like you don't.
It's not bad.
That's pretty good.
So this is John's trial. So his trial for the rape accusation.
Yeah, yes. His trial was first. Great play for her because her attorneys can use his first trial as a warm-up.
Yeah,
figure out what works, figure out what doesn't work.
Yep. See what the people are like, see what the questions are like. They can start getting character stuff with him and to downplay him later.
Yep. It would be prosecuted by Paul Ebert, who would also prosecute Lorena's trial, which makes a whole lot of no sense how that's not conflict of interest. And we'll get into how it was most definitely conflict of interest here in a little bit.
Well, I
And
mean,
Judge,
it's probably best just to have one person settle the dispute between one married couple, right? I mean, that makes sense. I get where they're
yeah,
going with it.
except in one's a defendant and the other one's a victim, and the other one it flip flops. So,
Well, there's a
and
little bit.
maybe in one, as a prosecutor, you have access to certain things for John that you wouldn't have as a defendant, and then you can use that in the next. It really should. He should have stepped down. In fact, lots of media outlets asked him, like, "Are you going to step down?" Nah.
He's like, hell no. Do you see how many of you there are around me right now? Of course I'm not stepping down. I live for this shit.
The judge was Herman Weisnot Jr., who was.
Wait, who was it? This was the judge?
Yeah, the judge was
That's
Herman Weisnot Jr.,
the
who was a
worst name
judge.
for a judge ever.
Yeah, he was a
Wise
judge.
not?
Yeah, Weisnot. He was a judge on both of them.
Terrible judge name.
The big hiccup to John's trial is, I don't know if this is statute or why this specifically happened, but they only allowed evidence from 5 days prior to the accused rape on the 23rd, and they would not allow anything after the rape. So basically, it had to have happened within that 5 days, and Lorena's actions post-rape are irrelevant. So they weren't allowed to talk about Lorena cutting off his penis.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
To talk about, which makes sense, but they also weren't allowed to talk about any of John's accused rapes prior to that date of the 23rd, or any of his accused actions prior to 5 days before.
See, I'm fine with the after the rape occurred, we're done. Like, that's end of it. I'm not fine with, let's not take a look at the history of the recurrences of this and how long it's been going on.
And,
like that,
and this
seems like that.
And that will really be that's really one of the big saving graces for John, because they couldn't find any good witnesses to show bruising on Lorena. She didn't have any bruising on her body at the time of all this that happened. The only piece of physical evidence that Lorena, she did have a rape kit that was conducted, which did show that there was sex, but it's a married couple, so
of course there can't be rape.
Was it rape? Because there wasn't any bruising, there was no evidence of forced rape. The only physical evidence that did exist was a torn pair of panties, which the state proved that she had cut the panties before tearing.
That's pretty easy to do with forensics. Figure out whether things are snipped or ripped or whatever.
Yeah, it was a small cut and then torn, as opposed to actually being physically torn. So it kind of shot that whole physical thing out. I'm not convinced.
It sounds like a little bit of tampering and a little bit of trying to play up stuff. And
now, what also doesn't help is when Lorena went and initially reported the rape on the night of on the morning of the 23rd. She said, and I quote, "He always have orgasm. He never let me have orgasm. It's not fair."
Ooh.
Followed up with, when he raped her 3 days prior to the 23rd, she said, "He was raping me and he was calling out other women's names." This sounds more like a slighted lover than it does an actual rape.
Those quotes really don't help her at all.
They didn't. She did not seem believable on the stand. Her story changed. He somehow did seem believable on the stand. The jury comprised of all women except for 3 men. So really, to get a conviction against them, you couldn't have asked for a better jury.
Right.
But it took them 4 hours of deliberation, and they found him not guilty.
So how much do you think, with your research, I imagine English was not her first language?
No, it was not. No.
Do you think that language barrier and inability to...
Yeah, when I was watching her trial, in some of her testimony, there were points where I'm like, I don't know if it's a language barrier or if I don't believe her or what it is.
Right.
But there was definitely one point when she's describing the rape in detail about what had happened that I'm like, okay, yep, I'm convinced. But there was a lot of it that I could see where it'd be wishy-washy. In summation, right before the case was over, the prosecutor said, "You might say that these 2 people deserve each other."
You might, or you might say that these 2 people should have never been in a relationship.
Yep, and maybe as a prosecutor, you shouldn't be condemning the fucking victim.
Yeah. Well, I
as
mean,
the prosecutor.
yeah, we do a whole lot of victim blaming, shaming, and desecrating
Uh,
the country.
Two other fun things that come out of this. While this was all going on, uh, a customer at the nail salon had gone in 3 days prior, like on the 20th of June, to get her
Okay.
nails done. She noticed that Lorena was distraught. She noticed bruises all up and down Lorena's arms.
Yeah.
She commented about it. Lorena shrugged it off, whatever. That was it.
Yeah.
She wasn't a TV watcher. She wasn't a news person going. And again, this isn't like modern social media where you're on Facebook and you can't not
Right.
see
Yeah.
things.
It's like I never tune into local news, never really did,
She
and
didn't
so it'd be like,
realize anything had happened until she was watching the news and saw him on trial during the trial. So she calls the prosecutor and says, I witnessed the bruises on Lorena's arms on the 20th. Will that be of any help? He said, wish I would have known that earlier because they just found him not guilty and can't do anything about it now. And that would
wait,
have won my case for me.
isn't that new evidence, and can't you reopen cases based on new evidence?
Not once you're acquitted of a charge, Johnny, that's it. You can't be retried. Doesn't matter what new evidence comes up. OJ Simpson can
No, no, no,
literally
no,
come.
no. It does matter if new evidence comes up, they can reopen
No,
stuff.
it's double jeopardy. You can only be tried for a crime
Mm,
once if you're found acquitted, if you're found not guilty, which is what he was. OJ Simpson today can come up to you and say, I murdered Nicole, and
he
there's not
did
a
actually.
damn which he did, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Now, if he was found guilty and new evidence arises, then he can get a new trial. But if you're found innocent, that's it. You can't be tried again for that same crime.
Seems like we need to fix that.
Um, I'll argue on that. No, we shouldn't. That,
No, I
but
don't know.
no.
Seems like we should.
And anyways, well, you
Seems
try
like
him
we
again
should
for different.
always be able to go back into people's past and crucify them
You
for
can
anything
try him
they
again
did
for
20,
rape, but it
20
would have to be a different incident of rape. You couldn't try him for
No,
that
yeah,
day of
no,
rape.
I
Yeah.
know that. I just want to crucify people for things they did 20 years
I I know you do, Johnny.
ago.
Also, what happened is immediately after the trial, when they're doing the press conferences, John's attorney says, "We won. It's clear that my defendant, or my client, he was good on the stand. He could not tell the truth for the life of him. He's just that type of person who can't tell the truth. Oh wait, I meant lie. He can't tell a lie. Ooh, strike that. Good thing I didn't do that in the courtroom."
That
So right
what?
off the bat, post trial in the press conference, his attorney basically just called him a liar, slip of a tongue, whatever you want. But this already is going to set him up for bad for PR press moving from this trial to Lorena's trial. Now, the attorney does set him up with a ranch down in Texas, I believe, and says, hey, go live on that ranch. I don't want you to be part of the media. I don't want you to do anything with the media. I
Yeah,
don't want you
please
to answer
get the hell
questions.
out of here, you
Get the hell out.
useless
Go
person.
live on this ranch and be fine.
Yeah.
He would, while living on that ranch, get kicked in the testicles by a bull.
The only working bits left.
Karma. But he leaves the ranch after like a month because he wants to go attend a John Wayne Bobbitt lookalike contest at the local Hooters.
Okay, I like this.
Yeah.
I love that the local Hooters was having a John Wayne Bobbitt lookalike contest.
Yeah.
That's just good. God,
and
that's the
then
90s.
he follows that up with a New Year's Eve show on Howard Stern's television show. We all remember Howard Stern from the 90s,
So
the guy
he
who
very quickly realized
disappeared.
that, I can start charging some appearance fees and I can be famous because I got my penis cut off. And that's better than living on a ranch in Texas getting kicked in the balls by a bull.
Yep, they had a like a tele-marathon thing to raise some money. They do raise $190,000 for his penis on the Howard Stern show.
Why? What for?
Surgery. He did have to pay for that.
Oh.
Although he actually
right, this is America.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, that probably put him about $1 million in debt.
Yeah, although both of his surgeons say they never got paid.
Also, if I get my penis cut off, I'm not paying for it to be reattached. Whoever the hell cut it off is. Like, if I get my tires slashed, I'm not the one paying for that. Or I'm going to go find that person and they're going to pay for them.
So Lorena Bobbitt.
Or I'm going to have a complaint with the police department if I happen to be in Minneapolis.
Right? So Lorena Bobbitt's trial was supposed to begin on December 23rd, 1993, but Johnny, that doesn't make for good TV, because what has happened is right before the trial, court TV went up to the judge and said, listen, we want to be a part of this trial. Judge said no. So they
Right.
did the logical thing, and they sent the most attractive blonde attorney that they could find to
Yeah.
go ask him again, at which point he said, yep, come on in, sweetheart. Let's do this trial.
God, men are so fucking dumb.
Because somehow cutting off a penis isn't a sex-related crime.
I can't figure that out.
I couldn't figure it out either.
I'm trying.
So it was allowed on TV. December 23rd did not make for good TV, so the trial was moved to January 10th, through the 22nd of January, 1994.
Why is September bad for TV?
December 23rd, Johnny. 2 days before Christmas.
December. I thought you were saying September. Okay.
No, December. Sorry, December.
Okay, yeah. The day before Christmas Eve, I get why that's bad TV. Okay.
Yeah, that's not great for TV. But Johnny, just 4 days before the trial begins, Spotlight was slightly stolen because Tanya Harding bashed in Nancy Kerrigan's knee, because the 90s were great.
Oh also, my God, look at these 90s stories just combining and interlocking.
And we will
do. Is that why
Tanya.
we forgot about John Wayne Bobbitt getting his penis cut off so fast? Because all of a sudden we had an scandal.
Johnny, this is what in 1994. In 1994, you have Tanya Harding bashing Nancy Kerrigan. You have the Menendez brothers offing their parents.
Yeah.
And you have O.J. Simpson.
O.J. That's right. Oh my God.
All in 94. So that's why Bobbitt kind of disappeared pretty quick.
Hey, could you imagine how great things would be if those were the only 3 things going wrong in the world right now?
Today?
Yeah. Like, I'm sure in 93, like, what is this coming to? This is the end of times. And now we're like, that is a Tuesday in 2020.
Yep. So the prosecutor's the same in this trial. The judge is the same in the trial. The charges are malicious wounding, which does hold up to a max 20-year sentence as well. So they both get
maximum 20 years.
Yeah, they both got the max 20 years potential sentence, although right now we know John was acquitted.
Yeah, so he didn't get anything.
The prosecutor stays the same, even though after that phone call from the witness on Lorena's bruising, you know what he did with that phone call? He gave her the number to Lorena's attorney and said, call that attorney, maybe you can save her life.
I mean, all right.
Not good right off the bat.
You know, he forwarded the message. It's fine.
He forwarded it along, right? To make matters worse about this whole thing, he didn't bother cross-examining that witness when she was on the stand during Lorena's trial. He just said, meh, no questions.
Nah, not interested.
Again,
you clearly have no information that I could use.
Okay, and Johnny, the last thing that makes this prosecutor so probably should have stepped down is during the defense, he acknowledged that John was a beater, acknowledged that John mistreated Lorena all over the place.
Yeah.
And said, look, I'm not even going to contest it. Look, he is a beater. He is what he is. Not going to contest that point. She probably did have the right to cut off a penis. But here's the thing. It can't actually cut off a penis. So the defense is that she did it, premeditated. She was aware of what she was doing. And so it was still a crime. The guy clearly didn't have the best. Like, he didn't want to win this case. In fact, he didn't want to win it so bad that, like, reporters even called him out on it. And in one of the documentaries, they asked him directly, like, did you even give a shit? Like, did you even try to win this case? And he just laughed and just.
So he just didn't care, because he's like, man, they're just garbage people. So whatever happens. Like, he probably deserves something, right?
Yeah, he didn't care. He's like, well, we couldn't convict him on the rape, so I guess the penis getting cut off is his punishment.
Yeah.
So we'll let this one slide with Lorena. So her defense team came up with a 2-pronged approach. First, they said it was self-defense.
Okay.
And they were using this new idea, basically, where women who are battered can claim self-defense even if their life wasn't imminently at danger at that given second.
Sure. Yeah.
It never is used successfully, but courts have allowed it to be brought in.
Yeah, that's a tough argument to make.
Well, basically, what it boils down to is that they claim that with a heightened sense of fear, which is true.
Yeah.
Like, if the guy, even if he's just yelling at her, that heightened sense of fear can kick up, and then she can get into self-defense. So basically,
Yeah.
the only way it would still even be a viable option is if he was still at least posing a limited threat to her. Him sleeping? Uh,
Well, but I mean, wasn't that his story? Because didn't he just finish
no, he was.
raping
Yeah,
her?
she flat out admitted that
She said she did
he
it
did it
while
when
he
he was
was
sleeping.
sleeping.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
said she got the knife, went up to the room, he was sleeping, pulled back the sheets, and
See, if I were her defense attorney, just say you blacked out. You don't
and
remember,
there
like you came to when you were driving in the car and freaked
yep,
out, and
and there is the second.
temporary
Yep,
insanity, right?
yep. There's the second defense is temporary insanity, but in Virginia, they don't have that as a law. What they
Ugh.
have is what's called an irresistible impulse. So basically,
That's like that seeing red thing type.
yeah,
Like if you walk in
it,
on your wife cheating on you and you shoot the guy or
shoot the
whatever,
guy. Yep,
then
irresistible impulse.
yeah,
You're not at fault because it was a temporary insanity kind of
heat of
situation.
the
They don't
moment
use the
type
word
deal.
temporary insanity.
Yeah.
So that's their next approach. Um, Lorena on this trial is golden. Her story does not fluctuate. She is great on the stand. Like I said earlier, when I was watching some of this, like there was a little bit of language barrier, but when she actually gets into the incident and starts talking about it, it's perfect. Now,
Yeah.
the only thing that really got me to still think that this was she was conscious the whole time is how much detail she had leading up to the attack, and then
Right.
how much detail she had basically immediately after the attack in the car. The
It's the
blackout for that is
it's the leading up to it that's the problem, right? Because like if
yeah,
she's like I was in the kitchen and then I don't know what happened,
yeah,
like
she gave
that's
specific
one thing. But
details.
if she's like I went into the kitchen, I grabbed these things and then I went, like you don't get to the doorway and then black out with your
Yeah,
plan and then
she
execute
said
it and
she
then
went to the kitchen, she grabbed the knife, or she opened the refrigerator for a drink of water. The refrigerator light illuminated the knife. She grabbed the knife. She went to the bedroom. She pulled back the sheets. She was angry because of the rape, and then she blacked out.
huh, bad timing on that blackout.
Bad timing on that black.
I mean,
Bad
it should have
timing on
been
that
I
black.
opened the fridge to get water and then I don't know what happened next.
But damn it, the defense team was brilliant. They found witnesses to previous attacks on
Abuses. Yeah.
her. They found people to testify that he's a pile of shit. He on the stand was a pile of shit and was just caught in lie after lie after lie.
Yeah, that's the thing about shitty people is they can't really turn it off most of the time. Like,
No, and he couldn't. So the defense, puts up a really great argument. They basically say she had PTSD. They have doctors on the stand that testified that yes, she had PTSD. But the problem with PTSD still is there is no evidence to suggest blackouts with PTSD. Like none of the
yeah,
diagnoses they gave her typically have situations of just flat out blackout, not knowing what the hell they're doing.
right. PTSD is usually more like an anxiety type response with the body where they, something happens and then they, close in and anxiety kicks up and everything else. It's not,
Yeah,
you just black out and
blackout for no reason. Yeah. So
like the problem is you're too aware of what's going on and it's triggering something in the past.
the prosecutors, they had the doctors that said she didn't actually suffer from these diagnoses, and there was nothing mentally in her, like she was cognitively aware of what was going on during the trial. So they had, or not during the trial, but during the incident, they had, the state's doctor testified initially that she was aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
Then the defense called him back onto the stand for cross-examination at a later time after he heard everybody else's testimony, where then he changes his story and says, "No, I can see that. Yeah, she was probably blacked out."
I mean, I mean, it's fine that we're bringing these expert doctors in and everything, but unless it's been her doctor for a long time, we're just getting some dude's opinion who has more experience dealing with people with mental health. Like,
Yeah, pretty
it,
much. I mean, every doctor did examine her, but like, what are you going to get out of a one-time examination
yeah,
thing?
yeah. I
Not
mean,
going to get a lot.
especially with mental illness or with PTSD or things like that, it's not always going to come out and they're not going to be able to get all of the correct diagnoses the first time. I mean, even just with depression, you go to the doctor and you get on 8 different medicines before you find one that works. Like
Yep,
it's
yep,
not
yep.
it's not an exact science. It's a science, but it's not exact.
No, it is not. The jury, just like in this trial, like in John's trial, was primarily women. So, again, good for her. This is your best chance of not getting found guilty.
Yep. Yeah, because they're going to be like, well, if he was doing that to me, I'd cut his dick off too.
The jury deliberated for 7 hours, Johnny, and they found her not guilty due to reasonable or irreasonable impulse. Irresistible impulse. So they found her. They found her not guilty. Now
All
there
right.
was one juror the whole time who, up until the last hour, said flat out she was like he didn't believe it. Like she was aware of it. But
Bet that dude beats his wife.
He testified that there were actually like 4 or 5 other jurors that were on the fence the most of the time. Most people, like, the consensus was we all don't believe that she actually blacked out, but we don't believe that she deserves punishment. So we're going to go ahead and just give her the irresistible impulse.
Yeah. It's the ends justify the means.
Yeah, and it never, like,
means justify the end.
Claiming insanity never works. Claiming blacking out never works. Claiming self-defense when a guy's sleeping never works. But it worked in this case because of how bad he mistreated her. I mean,
I think it boiled down to all the jurors, like, yeah, she probably did it and she messed up and shouldn't have. But, like, what are you going to do in that situation? And just let her go on it.
and this is where she even though her attorneys told her what was going to happen if she was found not guilty due to irresistible impulse, she still plays this. She does a great job in interviews nowadays of playing like this victim, like, oh my God, the media was just so overwhelming. I couldn't believe that they were saying all these things about me. Meanwhile, she's going on to Vanity Fair posing in a suit. Like, come on. And then she goes, oh my God, I didn't know I would have to go to a mental asylum. Well,
plead insanity?
You pleaded insanity. You have to go get
evaluated. Where do you think you're going?
Like,
just be like, hey, you know what? You're insane. Clearly, you had an episode. Just go home.
Go home.
Fine. Everything's
You're not going to be a danger to society or anything. Yeah, you're fine.
No.
So by Virginia law,
you don't need to confirm that you're insane or check it out or give you any sort of,
So by Virginia law, she had to be evaluated at the state mental facility for 45 days. So she served 45 days, and miraculously, Johnny, at the end of that 45 days, she was deemed sane and safe.
Which actually kind of surprising, because I feel like if I went into an insane asylum for 45 days, I'd have a hard time getting out of it.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, how do you, like, convincing somebody that you're not insane can be very, very hard to do.
Yeah, and for listeners at home, insane. You might think that an insane plea is the better way to go because you're not held criminally liable. But the difference with a criminal sentence is there is a term limit onto that sentence.
Yeah.
On an insane plea, there is no actual term limit. It is when they deem you safe to return to society.
Yeah, that could be forever.
It could be 45 days. She could have spent 10 years.
Yeah.
Or
longer, depending on what happened to her while she was there and
got out again.
Insane they thought she was.
But again, the fact that she was in there for 45 days and then immediately out kind of, again, reiterates the fact that people didn't believe she was insane.
Right.
But they just didn't want her to be held criminally responsible for cutting off a man's penis who was raping her nonstop for years.
Yeah, they were going through allegedly. Yeah, they were going through the motions. Like, this is what you have to do now. Like, sorry, but as long as you're not really insane, you'll get out in a couple months or whatever and be fine.
And while she was in the insane asylum, Barbara Walter stops by with her news crew and demands an audience with her, at which time the warden says, get the fuck out of here. This is not how, no, this isn't how, first off, Lorena said get the fuck out, so get the fuck out. So, Second off, no, this is an insane asylum. You can't
even if you were showing up to her home, she still doesn't want you there, but you're not. You're going to an insane asylum demanding an audience with a inmate.
That's a good way to get admitted to the insane asylum.
Yeah, no shit. Like, that stuff barely even works in shows where they need it to work to further the story. Like, they have even then they're like, oh, this was, we're not supposed to be doing this, and it's like, well, no, because normally you wouldn't do it, but like.
All right. Well, Johnny, so you might be wondering to yourself, what happened after both these trials, right?
Yeah. Can we get a where are they? I mean, it sounds like a dude got away with raping his wife for years, and she got away with cutting his penis off, and they did 45 days.
Yep. So after the incident, after both of them got out of jail, before their trials, they did file for divorce.
I think
Go
that
figure.
was. I feel like that should be allowed. I don't know if it is. It should be allowed to be court mandated in
At that point, yeah,
situations
it
like that.
should
It's
be.
like, guys, like this. Clearly, this isn't working.
Their divorce took till 1995 to be finalized because that is about right with divorces. It always takes
Yep.
forever for whatever reason.
Yeah. Gotta drag it out. Make it as painful as possible.
The case did thrust domestic violence and abuse against women into the forefront, and spousal rape, especially, into the limelight. And as of now, today, all 50 states do actually have laws that recognize that you can, in fact, rape your spouse.
Yeah. So
So
that's good. I mean,
a
some good
little, a
came
little
from
bit
it.
of progress. So for John, in order to pay for his surgery and legal fees, he started a band called Severed Parts.
A band?
A band called Severed Parts.
This guy, to pay for things, he started a band?
Yeah, it failed too, by the way.
Does
It
he
didn't
not
make
know
any
what the
money.
music industry is like? Like
Well,
1% of artists make money.
he didn't make money.
You
It failed. So
don't
then he turned to
say.
porn, Johnny. He
I mean,
turned to porn.
that's the logical step, right?
His first movie was John Wayne Bobbitt Uncut. He brags about how it won awards, which it did. It won most rented movie of the year and most bought movie for the porn industry of the year. Which, yeah, because everybody, including Bobbitt surgeons, watched this movie. Because Bobbitt surgeon said, like, look, I wanted to make sure my shit worked.
I mean,
I wanted to make sure my
it's a
work was good.
curiosity thing, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody, like it's like if I mean, didn't Octomom do something with porn,
Yeah, she did,
or
and
they
I
talked about
admit
it?
I looked up screenshots from said porn because I wanted to see what the dude's dick looked like, and you can see a clear scar at the
Yeah,
base, and
yeah.
he's not much of a grower either, Johnny. He's not.
So my theory is squashed.
Your theory is squashed. He's not a grower.
Oh, kind of like
He
his penis was by the cop who stepped on it.
a few, I think it was a year or two later, he stars in the second porn called Frankenpenis, where he gets a penis enlargement, Johnny. And the penis
Wait,
enlargement,
so he actually did, or this was
no,
like
he legitimately got a penis enlargement. It gets even
okay?
better. He gets a penis enlargement.
I mean,
It is filmed when he gets a penis enlargement. His surgeon said, had they asked him about it, they would have strongly advised against this.
seems like a bad idea.
The penis enlargement failed. It was supposed to give him girth and length. It did neither, and it caused him to lose some of his sexual functioning and made his penis look even worse.
Whoops. I mean, how does it? I guess I don't know the process of a penis enlargement. How would it fail both ways? Like it seems like
from
I don't know.
from what I gathered, they injected like fat into it, and it
Okay,
just didn't
that
take.
didn't.
Or
So
something along those
it's not
lines.
like adding skin and tissues and stuff. It's like Botox for your penis,
Yeah, that's the
and you
best
hope
way
it
I can
takes.
gather it. So it was a mistake for him to do that. He did get around. Well, the movie's grossed over $1 million, but he had really bad managers, and so he got basically no money at all.
Yeah,
He
that's
had to
usually how
declare.
it works in the industries, from what I
Yeah,
hear.
he had to declare bankruptcy. Even all of his like every public appearance, he was getting money and all that kind of stuff. But like the managers raped him, and he got no money. Which I don't
Right.
feel bad for this guy at all.
I mean,
Screw
no.
you.
Like, yeah, he probably got taken advantage of because he's a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Like he probably just
His
didn't read the contracts he was signing and everything else, and just signed away and got like 0.5% or some bullshit. Like,
Pretty much. I'm gonna rapid fire these ones here, Johnny. But he got into some legal trouble pretty
what?
quickly
What?
after this whole Lorena Bobbitt thing. They start in May of '94, where he gets arrested for battery on his then fiancee, Christina Elliott, who was an ex-exotic dancer.
You don't say. For battery? No kidding.
Yeah, for battery.
Huh.
He will spend 15 days in jail. A few months later, he would be arrested again for hitting her again and
I
spend
mean,
30 days in jail this time.
to be fair, like he would spent 15 days in jail just being mad that she made him go to jail. Like she should
And then
not have
comes
been
out and
there
then
when he
beats
got
her
out.
again.
Like she should have been gone.
In '99, he would be arrested again for harassing an ex-girlfriend and former porn star that he'd met when when she was an escort and he was a brothel bouncer. He was a brothel bouncer at the Bunny Ranch in New Mexico, or
That's the
yeah, that's the famous like U.S. brothel.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He was a bouncer there for a while, and they kept firing him and bringing him back and firing him and bringing him back because he was a piece of shit and couldn't do any. This guy was so dumb he couldn't tend bar. Like they're like, hey, just sit behind the bar and pour drinks, and he couldn't figure it out.
Just
Too dumb.
couldn't do it.
How hard is
I'm
it to
guessing
pour a
at
drink?
I'm guessing at a I guess it's not a brothel. I'm guessing most of the drinks are like whiskey straight and like
Yeah,
shots of
like not.
like
It's a brothel. Like
they're not doing like Long
they're not
Island
doing old
iced
fashions.
teas and old fashions. Yeah, it's all pretty standard. Pour me a beer,
Pour me a
whatever
shot.
drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He would then be arrested again in '99 for grand larceny this time. And
Well,
two,
I mean, by that time, I assume he'd filed for bankruptcy, and
yeah, this
band
this
idea didn't work, and turns out
this
he found a
'99 one,
porn
he should have
star.
gotten way more because what he actually did is he kidnapped and basically was going to murder this girl before she ran away. And somehow he only got arrested for harassing her. Like it was the most because again, our laws to protect women are kind of shit in the United
Yeah.
States.
Also, I don't know if you know this, but do you happen to know the ethnicity of this woman?
She is white from what I
Was she?
can.
Okay.
Yeah, her actual identity wasn't. It is kind of uh, uh, veiled,
Sure.
but
Which makes sense.
she's in the interview of this documentary, and you do see her out. Like she's white
Okay.
or maybe Hispanic, but
Right.
probably white. In 2001, he would marry Dottie Brewer and then be divorced in 2001 because, well, he mistreated her too.
I mean, what?
He was arrested to Johnny again in '02 when police responded to a 911 hangup where he was beating his new wife, Farrell, and he broke her tailbone and finger. He
Her
was sentenced to 15
her
months in jail.
tailbone and finger.
Tailbone and finger, yep.
How do you break only those two things on somebody?
I don't, that's a good question. I don't know. Well, he spent 15 months in jail this time, but mostly because it was a probation violation from his '99 larceny charge that he was still on probation for.
Right, not beating her.
Not beating
That
her.
doesn't matter, but you violated terms of your probation, and so now you have to go to jail.
He was accused again of assaulting Farrell and her 14-year-old son in '04, although he was acquitted of both of these ones. And he would be accused again in '05 by his third and current wife, and then acquitted again because, well, once you drop charges, you drop charges.
Yeah. So I just can't, and I know like an abuse victim keeps going back because there's all sorts of mental things there. There's all sorts of financial security. There's all sorts of stuff with that. But like these women had to have known who he was when they got involved with him. Like you don't keep who you are
Yeah,
secret.
everybody. He didn't change his name for
Yeah.
you at home
But-
listening. His name
and
is still
like
John Wayne Bobbitt, and everybody knows. Like even a kid who was born in '98 knows who John Wayne Bobbitt is. I'm sure.
yeah, like it. Well, and as soon as things got intimate, they're gonna know. And be like, oh, what's that weird circle? Oh,
Yeah,
that looks like it was reattached.
I got my penis cut off, and let me tell you a story.
I wonder if he beat all these women because they all made fun of him,
Probably.
or just asked them like, why can't you pleasure me or do anything worthwhile?
Right. Well, Lorena, she changed her name back to Gallo and attempted to keep a low profile, but she would be arrested herself in '97 for hitting her mother.
Huh.
Also acquitted though, so
Well, you know,
there we go.
most of those things go that way.
She would continue working at beauty salons around the DC area, and she formed the Lorena's Red Wagon organization, which teaches women how to cut men's penises off.
No.
I actually just made that up. It's just
Oh God.
it's like a domestic violence awareness. Like
I can't even tell what's real anymore.
it's empowering. It's about empowering women, and she does a good job. Like nowadays, like she's been on a lot of talk shows lately, and she does a good job of like making the humor out of the situation. So
What else can you do?
what else can you do about it? In May '09, both of them did appear together on a show on on the Insider show, where John did apologize to her for the way that he treated her during the marriage. She did not apologize for cutting off his penis, though.
She's like, yeah, no, you don't need to apologize. I took care of it. It's
Yep.
fine.
And then immediately showed like the Insider all the creepy love letters that John has sent to her throughout the years on Valentine's Day, like begging to get back together with her.
Oh, that's
Even though she
great.
has not done that. She does have a longtime boyfriend that she calls a husband, although they never have gotten legally married, and they don't plan to really get legally married. And they do have a kid together.
Are they, what is it, the common
Common law? I don't
yeah.
believe common law either. No, they just call each other husband and wife, but they've never actually gone through the motions to get married.
See, that's a bad. There's so many good tax breaks. It's a bad move.
Yeah, it kind of is. But
Like
hey, you know, she seems like she's got a pretty good head on her shoulders. She's obviously done some good with her life. She's trying to help women who are in battered situations.
yeah.
So good for her.
That yeah. It sounds like, some good things came from this.
Good for her. Not so much for him, but for her, yeah.
Well, he I mean, and not that she deserves a lot of good things, because it sounds like she's also probably a abuser of some sort,
a little prone to
and
anger,
a little bit crazy, and I'm sure she's done all sorts of awful things, but
yeah. Well, I'm going to leave us with one final fun fact, or the best fun fact I could find for this episode, besides all the craziness. So there's a phone company called MCI that accidentally got into the fray when they were airing a TV commercial that aired right after this whole Bobbitt thing happened. Okay. It was not planned. It was not intentional. This was filmed months before. It just happened to air a week after the Bobbitt incident occurred. And in the commercial, it said, see how you can save money like the Bobbitt family of Massachusetts by switching to MCI. No.
Just a different Bobbitt family?
Different Bobbitt family from Massachusetts. No relation. No, none of that.
God.
But, oh, God, were the jokes aplenty, including, MCI knows how to cut some bills. Ha, ha, ha. Don't stiff MCI because they will cut off your service, and they mean it.
Oh, my God. That is... Can you imagine the marketing meeting room the day after this happens? They're like, all right, guys, like, because the day before they're probably like all excited, like, we're a week away from launch. This is great. We got our ad campaign. We finished it. It looks great. And then this happens. They're like, hey guys, what was that family's name that we used in this campaign? Bobbitt? Was that it?
Can we maybe dub over that name, Bobby?
Yeah, I think that probably would have been a better route to go. just dub it. It doesn't even matter if it sounds completely different. Just have some rando dub over it, and it's gonna be better than the backlash and the jokes you are gonna receive at the expense of having the Bobbitt family named.
Yep.
Could you imagine if that happened today?
Oh God!
Holy
endless
cow!
Memes. Endless. If this happened today, there'd be endless memes. It'd be perfect.
Yeah, it'd be great. It would be really fun to watch today.
Yeah.
Like a case like that unfold. Although everything's way too serious and bad and awful today for it to be quite as funny, I think, as we would have wanted it to be.
The world wasn't so bad in '94. I mean,
I think it was. It was just you didn't hear about it from every angle.
Yeah.
And probably not as bad.
Yeah.
Bad is such a relative term now.
Well, I mean, this goes to show you, don't beat your wife, or she might cut off your penis.
That's it for this week's episode of Historic Hindsight. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review, and join us next week when we talk about Sega.